Okay, I'm gonna do a live video and see how the hell that goes. Playing two tables because I'm assuming there's gonna be some explanation things I can do, and I'd rather have longer to explain them, even though it's really painfully quite slow playing two tables of Zoom. So hopefully we get some good spots. This is ace-4 is just going to be an open from the button. People just tend to overfold from the in the blinds at 10 and 0, so most things are an open unless there's someone behind me that's going to give me a reason not to open it. These are both going to be opens. So I make it 3 big blinds from under the gun +1, and then 2.5 from cutoff and button, and then 3 big blinds from the small blind. Just personal preference. I don't think actually matters a great deal, but you steal for cheaper, I think, from late position and give people more of a reason to fold from early position. So I raised this under the gun and got 2 callers. I think this smacks the calling ranges of these guys too often for me to be able to continue. Hopefully trying to see a card. If not, I'm just going to check folding. I call with the ace-jack against this guy who's started with less than a full stack. He checks to me, and I think we can just try and get this to showdown. So that's a jack of diamonds. Pretty simple bet for value and protection against possible king overcards or whatever. Now we're just trying to get value from ace high. Nothing he really checks 3 times is going to be very strong, so I'll probably want to bet on the smaller side, see if I can get some value from ace high. Don't expect to get called that often though. Yeah, I think I might bet slightly too much maybe. Could have just bet a tiny bit less, and I do get a call. Let's see if I was ace high or not. Oh, it's just, oh yeah, that's fairly unfortunate. Flopped a full house. So just gonna bet my standard 66% pot on this flop. I raised from the cutoff and got a call from the small blind from an unknown. We're gonna see bet. Got top kicker with the ace of diamonds, backdoor flush draw. As king queen, I'm gonna take as a 3 bet. Making sure I'm labeling everyone as I go as well. Basically, green means that I've seen them have less than a full stack, which basically means that they're probably bad. I'm actually going to check call this hand. This hits his range quite a lot. He's going to represent this board quite a lot. It's just a good spot to check call, and can't be folding. I have the gut shot, 2 overs, and the backdoor flush draw. So turns an ace, which I would expect him to shut down on quite a lot. If he does bet again, we're probably going to have to give up. Can't really make any case for this. We just have a jack. Don't have 2 overs anymore, so it's going to be a fold. Hoping for some sort of really interesting spot. Opened ace 6 and got raised, so just a fold. Seems to be getting raised like quite a lot when I make it. When I raise with ace whatever offsuit, and I can never play back, so I might adjust that slightly from cutoff and button. Don't expect there to be that many. I'm only going to probably do 20 minutes or however long this is going to let me record for. I think I can defend this king 5 against a player with less than a full stack. Now it's just a fold. So I'm just keeping labeling. If I see them on the phone, then I make an orange tag for a couple of reasons, which I'll explain in just a moment. After this hand, 5-6, suited open. Okay, so deuces a fold there. So I make them orange because, one, the main reason is so I don't have to, like, my eyes can just see quickly that they're on their phone because I've got an orange tag, rather than the little phone tag. If I'm playing 4 tables, then it's easier for me to just see that they're orange, and that means that they don't have stats because they're playing on a phone. So they don't have a HUD. So that's going to be information I can use because they can't exploit whatever I've been doing. I'll open the ace 9 clubs under the gun and queens. Oh, so this is obviously a 3-bet against an unknown, and we get a call from the small blind over here. Oh, we get a call from the big blind as well. So and a pot size bet on the flop. So this is going to just be a fold. I made a video about it already, but when fish bet pot, I just have it, and that covers the fish because he was a bronze star. Still no spots. I was hoping maybe get something happen there with the queens, but this ace 4 is, I'm just going to defend it. Flush draw. Can go a couple of ways with this. When he leads, I think I can raise off. I can raise or call here, but I think I'm just going to call for now. Start with a call. Queen of spades, probably not a very good card for him. So if he checks me, I'm going to bet. And if he bets, I might raise. This is just really indicative of a bad hand. Usually when I raise here, I get some folds, and if I don't get a fold, then I do have outs. I expect my ace to be good and also hearts, but like I said, they often just fold there. And I can pick up. Just knowing this bet sizing of fish is just so important at this level, because you can just pick up free pots because they don't balance their bet sizing whatsoever. And that was just a free pot, and you can't really afford to be missing them. Like I could just call there and then have to fold to a river bet. But my raise there makes a lot of sense. The queen of spades is never good for his hand, and well, never really helps him that much. And yeah, I could just get away with a cheap semi bluff without having to hit my hand. King 4 is going to be an open. Just label a couple of people here. Fold the 4-3. Still no exceptionally interesting spots, pretty standard ones. The one with the I don't remember what I'm talking about now. The ace jack against the sevens, I guess, was half interesting, but not all that great. So I guess 2 tables is just what you expect when you play 2 tables. I wish I'd play 3 really. Maybe we'll next time. But I'm already committed now. Defend the 10-4 here for a min raise, and then just check flop this flop. I think it's 10. I'm gonna call with my backdoor flush draw, and now I'm definitely check folding. I might have 10 high. I'd love to. I mean, he probably doesn't have a very good hand, but it's just not that much in the pot. Not too bothered about letting him have that one. And in general, you should probably trying to get people off fish like that off hands is they're not often fold for small amounts. I'm just gonna defend the ace 3. Not a good, well, half decent flop on the left. I'm gonna, now he checks back, I'm gonna check again and let him represent the ace if he has it, and then just gonna value bet the river. I'm gonna check because this on the left hand table, because this flop hits him pretty hard, and value bet the right. Now I'm just gonna call with backdoor straight and flush draws on the overcard. I think it's pretty standard. 10's another 9. I'm gonna check again, hope to get to showdown somehow. And he just check back, and that's probably a pretty bad card for me. Pretty much everything apart from complete air that he bet on the flop is now there on the river. Maybe did have air. Like, it's a bad card for me if he bets, I think. But just have king, jack of diamonds, so I made some money on the flop with the check, because he's always going to represent that board with when I check and it looks like I'm giving up, and it looks really good for his range. Defend the king 9 and flop top pair. Turn 2 pair, I'm just going to value bet. And the ace king, I'm going to 3 bet, obviously. It's a shame. Keep labeling, always labeling. The more labeling you do, the easier it's going to be in the long run. I mean, you won't have to label forever. I mean, the fish. I mean, the fish keep on coming, and they're always different fish. But as long as you just keep labeling, you only have to do like a couple. I have most people. I guess I've only played about 40,000 hands since I've been back at this level, so I still have some labeling to do. But as you just keep going and keep on labeling, eventually you'll have everyone covered. So this is an interesting one. So this guy's orange, which means that was the other reason I buy orange people. One's just because I don't have to look for the little phone, and two is because it means that they do have. I have seen them play on a phone, and I have to assume that if they are playing on a phone, then at any point, then they don't really understand the value of stats, and they probably don't have stats when they play on their computer either. So it's just like small things like that. I think give you a small little edge. I'm gonna actually move these two. So actually, no, I don't know. Because the tables are bigger. Then when I play 4 tables, they're smaller, and then that doesn't actually cover my stat. But I just have to hover it like that. I don't want it to cover my bet sliders either. So I'm gonna open ace 3 and ace 10. See, yeah, this is what I mean. It's gonna have to go over my stack, unfortunately. Just gonna open both of these. Yeah, this is really slow. I'm definitely going to do 3 tables next time, and then just have 1 table on the bottom right with a replayer on it, so I can just bring up any hands that are half interesting. Because this is just not producing enough spots, which is why I moved down to 10 in the first place. Because at 16 I was playing 2 tables and it was just a bit slow. So I get a raise from an unknown. So 3 bet with ace queen suited. And flops king jack 5. I think I can see bet this flop. I have a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw and an overcard. Could also check call, but obviously his calling range on the flop's got a lot of king x in it, so I think this is probably going to be a spot where I have to give him the pot. It's not the best turn card in the world, and without any reads on this guy, I'm just gonna let him have that one. Defend the queen 10 off, and this guy bets pot. Usually an indicator that he likes his hand, but obviously mine's too good to fold. Turn to queen. I think I can check back here, and I think he'd bet a king, and he'd maybe check an 8, but I'm just gonna check back for let like a deuce come off on the river, and then let him bluff if he wants to. It's a pretty bad card. Probably gonna have to just call. What aces does he have? Ace 10, ace jack. I think I just have to call here. Try and split. Yeah, ace jack. I think he probably had ace jack. Just he probably had that way too often for me to fold. Too often for me to call that. That might have been a bad call. Not terrible, but I raised the ace deuce and got a call and ace jack 5. I'm going to check for balance. Don't know why I'm balancing actually against this guy, but I like to have some ace x in my range when I check this flop, so that I can protect when I have like queen 10 or king 10, king queen. That's pretty interesting. Against an unknown, I think I'm just going to peel one off and then reevaluate river. He's representing 5s or queen 10 right now. So check back the flop, which he would do with Queen 10, but not with fives. It's pretty much only representing King Jack, Queen 10, stuff like that. I think this is going to be a fold. Something like King Jack. This might also be a bad fold. I want to fold, I think. I'm obviously not certain. Yeah. His turn raise is pretty strong, but also he could just be doing it because I checked flop, and then he just thinks that I can't face a raise, which is what I was thinking about calling. But I think people just show up with it way too much there. I have no idea how long I've been recording for, actually. Probably should have made a note of that. But this video has been boring as hell, so never mind. I might not even keep it. I'm just trying to get one spot. So that's pretty good for his calling range. I'm going to check call with the ace of spades in the backdoor straight draw. An ace high. Pretty good turn. Now have a go at your straight draw and the nut flush draw. I'm going to try and get this 9 to show down, but I'm probably just going to lose to a check back King 10 or something like that. Yeah, he just has King 10 or something like that right now. This is unfortunately another fold. Ace 10, King 10, something like that. I just think that he's an unknown, so he's probably bad. And they just don't bluff that size. That sizing's never a bluff. I'm actually not a big fan of King Jack offsuit, especially from early position. I open it from the cutoff, but first two positions I actually pretty much just fold it. I'm going to open this 7-3 because this guy folds. Just steals a lot. Well, I would have opened it. I can 3-bet here against an unknown with the ace-jack in position. Expect him to call quite a lot. In fact, that's probably not quite enough, but and then I'm going to c-bet this flop, which I'm going to be doing with all my 10s plus, all my spade hands, whatever 9 that I have, and then my bluffs. And he min raises, just obviously I have no spades, no nothing. It's just a fold, unfortunately. But I think the c-bet's going to show profit there. And my range is pretty strong. Still not a lot of anything happening. Just a few small spots which I may or may not have misplayed. I don't really know. Just thinking about taking that as a 3-bet, but decided against it. I don't want to try and make plays just because I'm making a video. See if I can speed up my folding when I am folding. Just not really having that many spots, to be honest. A few spots where I've just like had third pair and had a decision, or like top pair weak kicker on a bad board. Just fairly normal spots, really. Nothing too complicated or out of the ordinary. Obviously opening pocket 7s, and I'm going to open this Queen 7 as well. This purple tag means he's capable of weird play. So I've seen him do something that I would just define as spewing. But I have been recording for 20 minutes and nothing has happened, so I may or may not stop in like 5 minutes and then I may or may not upload this because it's been pretty dull, and then I'll just make one like tomorrow or whenever I get a chance with 3 tables and then a replay table, so I can actually talk about things, because I can't adjust my screen capture now that I've already done it. So I just take my whole screen and next time and have 4 tables up and one of them be a replay table, so I can actually talk about something when the thing's happening. I'm gonna bet this against this fish. Sometimes I check back here for balance, but I'm not gonna be thinking about balancing against this guy. 7 of spades. I'm gonna bet again, just purely for value. And then I have the second nuts in the river, so I'm just gonna value bet again. As far as any spades that he can call with, I think he'd definitely lead with the king of spades, so I pretty much have the nuts here. But then any spade lower than this is going to have a pretty tough time calling, so I'm going to go with a smaller amount so I can get a call from like the 8 of spades or something like that. And he had the 3 of spades. I don't think he would have called much more, so I think I like my bet there. I think I understand that I have the unbeatable hand, given that I expect all fish to be leading the river there. So given that I have the jack and I don't think he has the king, he has to have a smaller spade to be able to call me at all. And then I think against it's easy to think, oh, I have easily the best hand here, I'm gonna make a bigger bet to get called. And against that opponent, maybe I could have got called by a slightly bigger bet, but I think my bet there is just going to get called by all of his smaller spade hands, and then I think I can chase him off if I bet like $2, even though I know the nuts. Just have to think about what you can actually get called by rather than what you have. So that was a fairly interesting hand to talk about. I'm going to record for 3 more minutes, I think, and then call it a video. I think I'm going to actually I'll just record until I get one more spot. Which could just be never, unfortunately. Open the ace-4. This is a hand that I want to be including in my check back range to not get. I don't want to get raised on this board, and I want to be able to have some aces when I check. I think I can get value from a king here, but it's going to be pretty thin. But I am going to go for it, just because when if I'm going to check the flop with an ace, I need to be able to use that. Because even though he's a fish, like he's going to have the basic ability to. He's thinking about it with a king right now. He's going to have the basic hand reading ability of he checked back the flop, he probably doesn't have an ace. Oh, that's rather interesting. I have absolutely no idea what that is. That to me just looks like 7-8. I'm obviously not calling, but I'm just thinking about what he might have. 7-8 or I don't know why he'd usually fish just lead the river. 7-8 of spades maybe, I don't know. No, it doesn't matter anyway. This is really interesting. I would love to just know what he had there, but to do that I'd have to call, and I don't think I'm ever going to win. So fish just tend to never do that as a bluff. Okay, so this is going to be my last hand apparently. Flop a set on a really bad board for my range, but a great board, obviously. Great board for my hand. Not a great board. I mean, he can have a lot of stuff, but I think I'm going to check back a lot of the time here, so I think I need to check here too sometimes. I don't think I want to though, because I need to protect against. I don't want the queen of hearts to come off here. Oh, I do have the 10 of hearts, but I don't really want a queen or a king or something like that to come off for 3. So, and then him just bet, and I have to just call and not really know I am. So that's the card I was protecting against, that queen. As far as the kings in his range, you have ace king here sometimes. King 10, king jack sometimes, but I have 2 10s, so it makes that less likely. I'm obviously checking here and then hoping to pair up and then making a decision on the river about how many kings I can give him. He also is going to bet small here for value with an 8, so this is going to be a fairly tough spot when he bets. And when he bets pot, I think this is just going to be a side fold. It's unfortunate that I couldn't get a better turn card here or a better river card, but this is just unfortunately going to be a fold. He does have some kings in his range, and flush gets there as well. It's just a pretty bad board for a set, and he bets an amount which, from my experience at this stake, is just value. I think I've been fairly unfortunate in this video actually. So I'm going to call it a video. I think this guy's going to see bet and I'm going to fold, and then that'll be that. He didn't bet. I'm going to bet. Well, basically, this guy, if this guy doesn't have a king, this guy's going to fold pretty much everything, apart from maybe queens. So this guy was, he would have checked a king, so we didn't want him to wake up with one. But at the same time, I don't really want to just check back here and see a jack, queen, or ace come off and then just be dead. When he calls now, his hand is pretty much always just going to be queens, jacks. I'm going to check back and see if I can show this down. It's just a really weird line. It's going to be kings actually. He never does this with queens or jacks, so that's one thing. Doesn't re-race with sevens pre. So this is like kings or nothing. So I'm going to peel one off here because obviously that's a really tight range of hands he can be value betting. And hope that he just gives up with his bluffing range on the turn. And then he shoves river. Kind of wish I wasn't making a video right now because this is going to be embarrassing when I'm wrong, but I just think his value range is so thin. I don't think he ever does this with ace king. Just going to see bet with ace kings. He's a fish. I feel like he has ace queen of diamonds. Just a load here. So I'm actually going to call. Yeah, and he does have ace queen. I just think that maybe I can just bring this hand up in my vision, my screen capture. So I think the reason I'm going to make this video a little bit longer, just talk about this a bit. The reason is I think fish on this board are going to just bet their king X all the time, just all the time, instantly bet their kings for value on the flop. He re-raised pre, so I don't give him sevens. Just like I think he's just going to call on and try and flop a set with sevens. Same for threes. And when he checks the flop, I mean I don't give him a king, so given that I don't give him sevens or threes either, I can give him slow played kings, but that's pretty much the only thing that I give him as value when he checks the flop. And he's not going to be very balanced, so I'd expect that to be true a lot. So I see bet the flop purely because against hands exactly like what he has, which is going to be like ace jack ace queen, which he's going to be hopefully check folding, or in this case he chooses to check call for some reason. He should just be check folding the flop. But when the deuce of diamonds comes, I think he would bet. I mean he's clearly a very bad player. That's much as obvious by his line, which is how and he was on a phone as well. When a deuce of diamonds comes, let's just bring this back so we can actually get some focus. When the deuce of diamonds comes and he leads, he leads for 290, and then I mean right now all I can give him as value is kings. I believe that he would slow play kings in this flop, but there's only 3 combos of kings in the deck left, so it's a really tight value range for him to be betting, which makes and then he's just got a ton of ace queen of diamonds, ace jack of diamonds, and then random shit that he's deciding to randomly bluff with because he's a bad player. So I think this is just a mandatory turn call, even though it feels horrible. When you think about the logic of the hand, there's just so few value hands he can actually have here based on the player he is he's going to be betting a king so often on the flop. I'd just never give him 3s or 7s with his pre-flop action, or ace king, because I think he bets the flop. So it's just going to be stuff like picked up diamonds that he's trying to bluff me off whatever hand I see, whatever hand I bet the flop with behind. If I tried to pick it off, then he would maybe just be able to bet me off the hand on the turn. It doesn't make any sense, but I mean, you can't read too much into players' hands that don't know what they're doing. So when he bets the turn, his value range is still tiny. It's pretty much, like I said, I think his value range is kings. And then maybe sometimes he does check a king on the flop, but I mean, fish don't tend to trap with one pair hands. They just tend to try and get the money in really quickly, or they just bet really quickly, from my experience. So I think this is just going to be a call on the turn, and then the river he bets, and it's just the same thought process. I mean, if an ace or a queen or a jack peels, I'm probably going to fold this river, but the 9 of hearts is just so blank, and his value range just hasn't changed at all. It's kings, and then sometimes it's ace king, and then the rest of the time it's diamonds and then random bluffs. So basically, the reason why I can call here is because I'm getting a really good price, first of all, because of the way the hand played out. I'm getting a really good price, and secondly, because his range is so imbalanced towards bluffs, that this just makes a mandatory call, I think. So yeah, I like that. I did manage to get a good hand at the end, so that means I probably will end up uploading this video. Anyone that watches, thank you, and comments are appreciated. I will make another one fairly soon. Thanks.